Welcome to episode 8.12 of the Grumpy Brothers podcast. I am Chris Ludvigsen, joined by Ted. Say hey, Ted.
Hey, Ted.
Thank you to our listeners. Please subscribe and listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Odyssey. Also, please follow us here on millions.co. Today, Ted, we're going to review some more recent NFL offseason moves.
Right.
Then we conclude our Major League preseason team previews with the West divisions in both the American League and National League. Before we get to that, Ted, what's making you grumpy today?
Well, there's two little. First off, I have another fish story.
Beautiful.
My wife sent me this. This is local to us.
Okay.
Last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, two guys are caught fishing illegally or whatever.
This is not a tournament situation.
No, it's just these guys are just. I guess they're fishing without a lot. I don't know.
Bubba and Jimmy Bob are out.
Yeah, are out. They're out
fishing without a license.
They're out fishing or doing something illegally. So they catch them, and whatever they do to them, send them on their way. I don't think they, it was a big jail thing. But apparently they had 4 rainbow trout.
Okay, I didn't realize you had trout up that way.
Yeah. I guess maybe they're stocking this one lake. I don't know.
Okay.
So she got this notice from a local animal wildlife sanctuary kind of thing where they take in injured animals and heal them up, and
including fish.
Well, no. So I thought, because it said that the wildlife officers brought the fish to the sanctuary, and I thought, well, that's unusual, that you would try and heal the fish. No, they gave them to the eagles to eat. I thought that was a very depressing end to that story. Because I'm thinking, wow, they even have a fish sanctuary. Wow, that's pretty nice, isn't it? No, we're just giving it to the eagles. That's it.
Okay.
But something that annoyed me this week. Now, I was scanning TV when it was, like 16 degrees out and blowing and all that other stuff early in the week. And it had Major League Baseball, Orioles, and Yankees. I thought, okay, let me watch a little exhibition. I can't, because it's on MASN at the same time, and it's blocked because of whatever their deal is. It's exhibition games. There's 7 people at home on a Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 who have found this. I happen to be one of them.
You're number 8.
I'm number 8. Yeah. None of us are paying for MASN. I mean, probably most of them are. Whatever it is, if you own MASN, what do you care if I know there's legality, but what do you care? Really, if an exhibition game, if you're the Orioles, wouldn't you want as many eyes on your team in at least the exhibition season as you can possibly get? There's 8 old guys, and we're sitting at home. We're not doing anything else. We have money. We could go to the games if we decided we wanted to. But why? You're not even making it worth my effort because I can't see them unless I plunk down, the money for the other thing, because the Nats are on the MLB thing, because they're off of MASN now. Their exhibition game was on the other day, and I got to watch a little bit of that. Not that there's much to watch there, but I got to. So that made me feel a little better about that. But
so I thought the last loss of MASN was just for the Nationals, but
it is. No, the Orioles game was being shown on MASN.
Okay, because it's on MASN, you couldn't see it on in the Major League Network.
Whatever if a Major League. Yeah, MASN, it's like it's one or the other,
right?
Unless you go out and buy. I guess if you bought the streaming app from MLB and picked the Orioles as one of your teams, then
if you were number 8 that did that.
Yeah, right. If I was one of the few people that did that, yeah. But it's crazy. I mean, it's an exhibition game, and by the time I turned it on, all the regulars were long gone. But the funny thing was, 3 days, like yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. They were playing the Yankees again, but it must have been on the Yes Network because it was on MLB. So I got to see it. So I got to see the Orioles.
Oh,
so,
because it wasn't being broadcast
that's
by
on
Masson, but
right.
by Yes,
But,
you could.
by
Okay.
Yes. But if I was in New York, I guess I couldn't have seen it on MLB.
I just find it hard to believe that someone at MLB.TV or .com or whatever is actually figuring all that out on a Tuesday afternoon in the spring training.
Well, I mean,
or does this happen automatically?
it might with computers and AI, it might figure out automatically. But to write that into your contract, it's exhibition games. They don't count. There's 6 people watching on a Saturday or on a Tuesday afternoon.
I want to go back to your comment about the fish situation, and you were talking about the wildlife officers.
Yeah.
I heard on one of my podcasts that it has now become a thing. I can't remember where it is, somewhere in California or somewhere. There are now either park rangers or like wildlife officers who in the last couple of years have had to stock up on military grade weaponry.
Yeah.
Because they've discovered that because marijuana is now legal in California,
right,
the cartels are going in and planting marijuana out in the wild.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so now, like, the wildlife guys are now like fighting cartels.
Yeah, they're stumbling across this and they're supposed to get rid of it because it's probably aside from the illegal part, it's probably an invasive species and they probably are supposed to try and get rid of it.
I don't know what it is, but I mean, can you imagine you think you're out like hunting Jimmy, Bob, and Bubba looking for and you run across that situation?
Yeah, that's not good.
I think I'd ask for a pay raise. Or reconsider my career choice.
Yeah. I mean,
God bless the people that take on those. Oh man, I don't know. So Ted, for the second week in a row, I have can you believe it? I have a second week in a row, World Baseball Classic related grump.
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot.
There's a lot to be grumpy about with that, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So this is specifically about related to the loss in the final against Venezuela when their offense was a complete no-show, except for our guy Bryce in the 8th inning, and that's where I'm going to get to. Okay. Now, I have never been, I think I have made this known on this fine podcast, that I have never been a fan of Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
But the curiosity in me sometimes gets the best of me, and I think to myself, okay, this guy clearly has a huge audience.
Right.
He must be doing something that makes him a valid person of interest to listen to. So because of his link with Christopher Russo on ESPN now, they've got him on Mad Dog Radio doing.
Oh, okay.
They have him do the show in the afternoon, then they rebroadcast it at 6:00.
Right.
Clearly, because they had to give him so much money that they had to get like 6 hours of programming out of him. Anyway, so Mad Dog show's over at 6, and I listen to it on my app on my phone sometimes. And so at 6:00, Stephen A. comes on. I think to myself, okay, let me give it every so often I give him a shot.
Right.
Okay. So the day after the ill-fated loss to Venezuela, he comes on and says, I don't care about the loss, that the Bryce Harper 8th inning home run was such great theater and so exciting that it is now the greatest moment in Bryce Harper's career.
Okay.
Now, let me get this right, Stephen A. A game-tying home run in a game that your team loses in a made-up tournament in the middle of spring training is more important than the game-winning home run that he hit in the playoffs to get his team to the World Series. Is that what you're saying, Stephen A?
Well, it sounds like that's what he's saying. Yeah.
So that's the same as saying if Kobe Bryant hit a game-tying shot in like the World Championship qualifier,
right?
That's more important than the game-winning shot in the conference finals to go to the finals. That's what he's basically saying, because he's a basketball guy.
Yeah, he is a basketball. He's not a baseball guy though. Yeah, I think he's, I mean, I can't express it. I think he's wrong.
You think?
But I also know that he is, he's probably thinking about it as the theater.
Well, that's exactly the word that
Yeah.
he used. That's
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
But Ted, the home run he hit against the Padres was theater,
Yeah. And it mattered.
and it mattered, and his team won the game.
Yeah. And I guess the other part would be, I'd like to know the audience level. I mean, on TV, how many people were watching one versus the other? That would be interesting.
Every time,
I can't get, but go ahead. I can't get.
Every time I give the guy a chance, he says something so stupid that it makes me think, what is ESPN spending all that money on?
It's not stupid. It's controversial. See, you're talking about it. You're talking about it because you think it's stupid. But other people think it's controversial.
And I have heard Mad Dog say from time to time, particularly on slow sports days, he'll pick a topic whatever topic it might be, and he rambles on for it. And at the end of the first hour, he goes, "Okay, I've used up an hour of my show today. I got, because he has to fill up time."
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that's an issue. Yeah.
And from what I understand if you're hosting a talk show on radio, whether someone agrees or disagrees, as long as they call in, it's accomplished the goal.
Yeah, as long as nobody's abusive, it's fine. Yeah, but he's not the other thing is he's not a baseball person.
Yeah.
So I mean, he probably doesn't know Bryce Harper hit the home run that put him in the World Series.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
So and then if you're, a lot of people have such short memories of things. Bryce hasn't done anything in 2 years of anywhere near either. So in the last 2 years, it is his biggest moment. There's no question about that.
All right, here we go, Ted. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the AL West later today in this fine podcast, Ted. Last year.
Hey, before you start this, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If Stephen A. Smith came onto this show, would you have him?
Yes.
He said yes to this show. Would you have one? Yeah, I think I would. Yeah. If he called in, yeah, sure. Yeah, he can talk. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I just being clear.
Yes, I would.
Clear on that. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I would. All right, Ted. So last year, A's first baseman Nick Kurtz won the American League Rookie of the Year award.
Right.
So here's an A's question for you, Ted.
Okay.
In the history of the A's that goes all the way back to the Kansas City A's, the Philadelphia A's, I'm sorry.
Philadelphia A's, yeah.
Right. Then the Kansas City, then the Oakland, now the Las Vegas. Ted, who has the most hits in athletics franchise history?
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of history.
It is.
Al Simmons.
Ted, I'm going to give you here. Hold on. I'm going to give you this. Hold on. I'm just going to give you a little one because that was number 2.
Okay.
Al Simmons.
The fact that I knew who Al Simmons is.
That's right. We've just completely dated ourselves. Al Simmons, the Hall of Fame.
No. Come on now. We didn't date ourselves. We didn't see Al Simmons.
Yes, but we were reading books about baseball when Al Simmons was still close enough to history that.
Okay.
So it'd be like someone now reading a book today about Brooks Robinson.
Okay.
You follow my logic?
Yeah, I get you there. Okay. All right.
So Ted, he's number 2 on the list.
He's number 2 on the list. Did I see this guy play number 1?
Yes.
A's history. I want to say Ricky, but did he?
Hold on. Not him, but
no.
He's number 3.
Yeah, because he had so many years where
he jumped all over the league.
Yeah. So this guy had to have played for them for a long time. Is it Reggie?
Nope.
I didn't think so. No. Is it of that era?
Yes.
I'm going to take one
on that team.
On that. Oh, there's 2 guys then. There's Campaneris.
Hold on. I'm screwing it up. Excellent, Ted. Bert Campaneris.
Yeah, he played for them forever.
But Ted, you know what? He must have gotten cut loose at some point also. He played,
Yeah.
I think, 18 or 19 total seasons, 13 with the A's.
Yeah.
Ted, he had a robust 262, which these days would make him a $20 million
Yes.
shortstop
Yeah.
with the way he played defense and ran the bases. 1,882 career hits in his 13th season with the
Wow, that
A's.
doesn't seem like a lot.
But see, there's a team, all those guys, all of the guys from that team all got cut loose after they
No, but
won
I
those
mean,
championships.
when I think about like Al Simmons, it doesn't, because they didn't move around as much. But I guess maybe he had a shorter career.
Ted, the guy that I would have thought about was Jimmy Fox. But Jimmy Fox only had less than 1,500 hits. I didn't look to see. He must have played for somebody else.
Yeah, he
So
did.
Ted,
He went to the Tigers at some point.
okay. So Ted, of the top 5, 3 were from the 20s and the 30s. Simmons, and then these other 2 guys I've never heard of. Jimmy Dykes was an infielder in the 20s. Never heard of him.
I've heard of him, but I don't know.
And then Bob Johnson was an outfielder in the 30s.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I just would have thought that somebody would have had 2,000 hits.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
All right,
Okay.
Ted. All right, let's begin with football, and let's begin with the canceled Max Crosby trade. You are the official DMV correspondent. So, what is the vibe there? Do people think that this was 100% legitimately about the physical?
Yeah.
Or is it someone in that organization got cold feet about the 2 first-round picks and the 4 years at 36 mil per year?
Well, it depends on, there are various stories that go around, right? And obviously, if you're not in this area, you believe that they looked at his knee and decided that the 2 first round picks were not worth it. Particularly, I think it's because Hendrickson was more available than they thought.
Yeah, and the whole thing that DaCosta said about that we were thinking about having them both. No.
Yeah, no, that was never, because you
as
can't
soon as
afford
he
them
said-
both.
as
Yeah,
soon as
you
he
can
said-
you can think it, but you can't afford it.
As soon as he said that, it kind of debunked it lost some of his credibility about the whole thing with Crosby.
Yeah. Okay, so they legitimately had apparently 5 different people look at his knee.
Oh, really?
So
Now, all affiliated with the team?
yeah, it's certainly the I guess they have a team doctor,
Right.
and a team
They have a team orthopedic guy.
and he's probably from Hopkins or one of, they got a lot of hospitals.
Ted, I'm sure they've got a good doctor on staff.
And so they must have consulted with 2 or 3 other guys, and maybe they have legitimate concern about his knee, and maybe they did get cold feet. I think they did. I think they got cold feet. But I also think that when Hendrickson was available for the price that they wanted in the years that they wanted, then they go, yeah, we're just going to call it a medical and get out of it. I think that's what happened.
Okay, so you think it was a combination?
Well, yeah, I don't think that they believed that Hendrickson was going to be available as long for the price and the years and for as long as he was, because they did the Crosby trade first and then Hendrickson got cut afterwards, right? So then all of a sudden they talked to him and they said, well, yeah, this all fits, but we can't afford both of them, so we can get out of this by looking at his knee, going no, and keep our 2 draft picks. I think that's I would believe that would be the most likely scenario.
If they're both healthy, Crosby's the better player.
Okay. Yeah. But they're both good. Yeah.
Right.
See, the other part,
coming off an injury last year also.
I guess it's not considered construed.
He clearly passed the physical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it must not. They think this is a debilitating injury, or at least publicly are saying that they think it's a potentially debilitating injury. But all of their injuries are. Everybody can be hurt, My belief, when you said that they thought they could get both of them, I think there's a shred of truth in that, in the sense that they needed to get Crosby or Hendrickson, one of them. They needed Jackson to restructure his contract, which he did a little bit. And now apparently it restructured it such that he is now whatever they needed him to be this year. But he's like 70 million next year.
Oh gosh.
And he's
So
a
they
free
they just kicked the can down the
kicked
road
it
a
down.
year.
And he's but he's also now bumped up his free agency, or he's got an opt out or something after 27. So now they have a decision to make after this year will be, can we get Jackson's contract an extension, more manageable, all this, or do we just take the hit and just let him walk away? Because he clearly is one of at this point, he has clearly positioned himself as somebody who wants the money,
Yeah.
is not interested in spreading it out and taking it down the road and any of that. He wants to be whatever the high numbers that he wants to be in that group.
He's going to be a franchise killer, Ted.
Well,
because he's very, very good, and I think he's capable of still playing at an MVP level. If he had won at least one Super Bowl, or maybe even at least gotten to one, I might be able to justify all of this. But until you win one, or at least get one, you got to check your ego a little bit, don't you?
I would think now, because this Hendrickson helps them, no question about it, right? He's gonna be an asset. He's gonna be give them the pass rush that they were lacking, but they lost the center.
Yeah,
which is if I'm Jackson, I don't care about the defensive guy. I want the guy that gives me the ball, on a so they've got. I think they extended one of the wideouts. I think their window is now. If they don't go to the Super Bowl this year,
you think they might just blow the whole thing up?
Well, I mean, Jackson, if he won't renegotiate with them, that $70 million to make it, more, just make it easier to do other things, then you got to move him, don't you?
I think so. Ted. The whole vibe I get every time I hear anybody talk about about Lamar Jackson and his money just makes me think it's time to cut bait and blow it up and start over.
I think, like I said, I think they have this year.
Yeah.
And then, again, if they get to the Super Bowl and then maybe he decides it's great to be here and I'll spread the money out, but they do say that, it's reportedly that one of the problems is he doesn't have an agent and you're dealing with his mother, so it's not the same kind of negotiating that you would have with an agent, so.
All right. Speaking of quarterbacks who, Kyler Murray gets released by the Cardinals, which was widely expected and happened. And he very quickly signs with the Vikings on a 1-year contract. And Ted, the Vikings then immediately add Carson Wentz for quarterback depth.
Sure.
I have one comment about this. JJ, get your suitcases out.
Yeah. Well, it's only 1 year. And he may hate it there. He might not like the cold weather,
Okay, so clearly Kyler Murray is thinking, I'm going to be the next Sam Darnold. I'm going to go to the quarterback whisperer. He's going to fix my game. We're going to win a bunch of games. I'm going to go to the playoffs. I'm going to play great, and then I'm going to get a big deal.
Well, here's, he did that in college, right? He went to Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, and he won the Heisman, did he?
Yes, he did.
He did. Okay. So, it worked for him once. It could work for him again. If he's willing to do the work, pay attention, and absorb what they're showing him, why not? Kirk Cousins had a good run with this guy. Darnold had a good year with this guy. There's no reason to think he couldn't, rebuild and re-image himself after 1 year.
Now, I will say this.
And come to Baltimore when they trade away Lamar Jackson.
I will say this for Kyler. If it doesn't work this year, his days as a starting quarterback are over.
His days as a starting quarterback on a good team are definitely over. There could be, like the Jets, or, if the Saints thing doesn't work out, or if the guy in Miami is your guy, Willis, that is now their starter, doesn't work out, but he probably would be a starter on bad teams. It would he would have to go back to being on the Cardinals all the time. And it would be limited. It would only be a year or two at a time because they would always be looking for the franchise guy in the draft or free
Now, I
agency.
also think the Vikings had to do this because one, not this past season, but 2 seasons ago, they won 14 games and were
Yeah.
right there as one of the best teams in the NFC. And I remember after the season is over this year, their great wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, basically said something to the effect of, yeah, we would have been better with Darnold.
Yeah.
As soon
Yeah.
as soon as your best player
Yeah.
says something like that,
Yeah.
they have a little window here. I think they have, Flores as a defensive coordinator is very good.
Yep.
O'Connell clearly knows how to get the best out of quarterbacks. They have a lot of offensive weapons. They're in a tough division,
Yeah.
but they could not run it back with JJ McCarthy after last season.
And the thing is, you on the one hand, you go, well, he's a wide receiver. That's what they complain, right? But he never does.
No,
Never. You never hear him say anything. So, for him to say it,
yeah,
tells you that that was McCarthy's not the guy.
yeah.
I'll never forget. I honestly, there's a saying that I think your guy Colin Coward says it is that players know. Players know somebody can play, and I'll never forget that the Hard Knock show, the first year the 1 year when they did it with the Chargers, when Justin Herbert came up, and all the wide receivers after they were throwing, they were just doing 7-on-7 or something, and the wide receivers are looking at each other going, hey, and then they go, one of them said, this is the first time we've had anybody can throw it like this in 4 or 5 years, so they know, and they clearly know this guy's not what they're looking for, that he's a backup.
And I'll tell you, and Ted, I'll say this. Now that, and we're going to talk about the Dolphins in a moment, now that Malik Willis is gone from the Packers, I know the Vikings would never do it. They would never trade a quarterback in division.
Right.
But JJ McCarthy would look beautiful as a backup quarterback in green and gold.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I'll say something else about JJ McCarthy. I never got the hype of him as a first-round draft pick. I always remember the year they won the national championship, the game against Penn State. They did not attempt a pass the entire second half.
Right.
I'm sorry, if you have a future first-round NFL quarterback in a tight game, at some point you say to him, JJ, we need you to make a couple plays here.
And
that says everything to me.
Yeah, the only thing that I mean, it would, unless the weather conditions were so extreme, which they weren't. So, I mean, it's like that 1 year the Patriots and the Bills played and Josh Allen threw, but that's
a different, okay.
That was a whole different thing. Yeah.
All right, let's finish up NFL with the Dolphins, as we talked about a moment ago. Ted, they're taking this team down to the studs.
Yeah.
They trade wide receiver.
Your guy Malik Willis is looking around going, wait a minute.
What did I sign up for? So they trade wide receiver Jalen Waddle to the Broncos for 2026 first-round pick, number 30 overall, a third-round pick in the 26th draft also, and they also exchanged fourth-round picks. So now the Dolphins have released Tua and Tyreek Hill. They traded Waddle and Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
The one thing, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but the one thing I like is they looked at this team as it was and said, this team is not going to. So it's take it down and start all over.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's not the slow descent that some teams go through where, they had a bad year this year and then they try and sort of patch it. Yeah. And then they end up being just as bad, if not a little bit worse. And then all of a sudden
you're the Jets.
You're the Jets. Right. This way it's a clean break. We know we're going to be bad. We're starting over. And they have a quarterback now whose contract is manageable. And they got 2 draft picks for a wide receiver. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. This is another one of those trades. We talked about him a couple weeks ago that I like the trade for both teams. Ted, the Dolphins now have 11 draft picks this year, 2 in the first, 4 in the third.
If
they
you're
hit
going to
5
rebuild, isn't that the way to start?
if they hit 5 or 6 of those 11
Yeah.
picks, and Ted, now here's the interesting thing. New head coach Jeff Hafley and their new general manager John Eric Sullivan both come from the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
And where was Malik Willis the last 2 years?
Green Bay.
So they not only have seen him play on game days, they've seen how he's in the locker room, how he practices,
Right.
how he prepares.
Right.
I don't know if Malik Willis is going to be a C+ to B- to B level quarterback. Maybe something in that range.
Right. Right.
Best case, he's somewhere between 15 and 20.
Right. Yeah, but he's not. They're not paying him, relatively speaking. They're not paying him a lot.
Right. And if he is, there a couple of years ago, he was touted as a possible first round pick. He's got a lot of tools.
Right. Right.
And in the current NFL, one of the tools is mobility, and he's got it. He's
going to need it. He's probably
Now, here's the other thing, Ted. For the Broncos, this says this is the perfect example of what you can do from team building when you have a good quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yes. Yeah. And they have a window.
Right.
And they're trying
this year and next year they got to win a Super Bowl.
And they got to at least get to one.
Okay.
Because
then they got to pay Bo Nix.
Right.
Then they have to make a decision on they have with Cortland Sutton and now Waddle, they got a couple high priced wide receivers. They've got a couple really high priced defensive guys. They got to pay Surtain. They've got Hufanga and Greenlaw that they brought in from the Broncos. They've got Allen. They've got Bonito. They got a lot of guys who are going to be making a lot of money in a couple of years.
And they're not going to be able to keep them all.
No. So the next 2 years, and Ted, I've heard a lot of people say the Chargers. Best team in the AFC is the Broncos.
Right now, yeah, as it stands right now. They would have more than likely gone to the Super Bowl this year.
If not for the broken ankle.
If Knicks had been healthy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go to baseball, Ted, and let's begin with the American League West.
All right.
The Mariners win the West, going 90-72. They were solid on both sides. 10th in scoring, 4.73 runs per game. 16th in pitching. I'm surprised that wasn't better because they have a really nice nucleus of starters, Ted. The offense was third in home runs. They had 238 home runs, led by Cal Raleigh and his 60 homers, 125 RBIs. They re-signed Josh Naylor. They got Rodriguez. Rosarina is still a quality player. J.P. Crawford. I like the big four starters. Castillo, Wu, Gilbert, and Kerbert made 110 combined starts, going 42-29. A lot to like about this team.
Yeah, a lot to like about this team. Yeah, because as he has done routinely, Julio Rodriguez doesn't show much in the first half, and then and then all of a sudden the second half he looks, great. So, look, you cannot. Cal Raleigh's not hitting 60 home runs again.
No,
not going to happen.
No.
You should be happy with 30, right?
Okay.
30 as a catcher.
Okay.
Because he does catch. This is not a guy
who plays first base
or first base and is, it's a second catcher. This is a guy who catches I think we looked it up last year. It was around 120 games he caught
something in
last
that range,
year.
yeah.
So and he's a really good catcher. So they, have to put him back there. But he's not going to do that again. You can't count on that. They need more from a Rosarina.
Yes.
They need more, or they need Naylor to be healthy. Try and keep him on the field as much as possible. And, if their starting pitching comes through at any level like that, like they did last year, and I think they'll probably be a little better because I think one of them was hurt for part of the year.
Yes. Kirby,
came on late. And
maybe Gilbert.
Gilbert, I think it was Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, I don't think Logan Gilbert had quite the win-loss percentage or results that you would have normally resulted from a guy who has his stuff.
Yeah, I think he had some sort of arm thing and he didn't come back until June or July or something. Yeah, he had, and Castillo sort of faded at the end of the year. There was concerns that he was losing his fastball in the playoffs and stuff like that. But by and large, that team should pitch with their starting rotation if they stay reasonably healthy. If they make the number of starts if anything that resembles last year, they should be fine. This team should win this division.
Yeah. Gilbert was started 25 games last year, went 6-6 with a 3.44 ERA. You're probably going to get more from him.
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
yeah.
I don't think you're going to get 15-7 and 294 from Brian Wu again, but maybe those two guys flip-flop.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think Brian Wu's better than 6-6, but if both of them went 12-8 and had a decent ERA between them, you're going to be just fine.
With that starting staff, even look at a guy like Bryce Miller as your fifth starter.
Yeah.
You're going to win a lot of games with that core.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the bullpen was a bit of an issue. I think they've addressed that a little bit. So I just think that they just have to show some consistency and maybe a little more offense out of a Rosarina. And now they lost Polanco's 20 some odd home runs. But I think this is the team that's the cream of the crop in this division.
Yeah. All right, now let's go to the Astros, Ted. 87-75 last year, missed the playoffs. To me, it's fascinating how this once offensive powerhouse of a team has evolved. Ted, this team was 21st in scoring last year.
Yeah.
And Ted, they were 17th in team home runs hit playing in that little ballpark.
Right.
Now, Yordan Alvarez was hurt much of the season.
Right.
Kyle
Tucker was gone.
Tucker's gone. Now,
Correa's not the player he was.
And Altuve is 35. He had a solid year last year. Correa's 30 now. They lose Framber Valdez. They replace him with the Japanese pitcher, Amaya. I don't know, Ted. The Astros had become like the Seahawks at the end of the Pete Carroll run in Seattle.
Right, exactly.
In that you looked at them and went, I'm not quite certain how they're going to get there, but they're going to be there at the end.
Right.
I look at this team, I don't see it.
No, I think Hader's going to start the year on the DL. They had, when they were at their peak, they had those what was the three pitchers? Garcia, Christian, I can't remember him. Valdez.
Yeah, I know the guy.
And McCullers. McCullers has been hurt ever since 2018 or 2019 or whatever. And the other two guys, I think, had Tommy John and have struggled to get out of that. So, I think the Astros have never been able to replace the guys that got, like Bregman was gone last year, and they brought in Paredes, and Paredes is, now apparently they need to move him because he's unhappy about something, The shortstop's okay.
Yeah, he had a good year last year, Ted, and he bounced back because, Ted, what he did was he cut down dramatically on his strikeouts.
Good. Yeah.
He hit 304 last year, Ted.
Yeah. I mean, if he could do that, that's a big help. But Altuve's on the way down.
Yes. Unless Alvarez plays 160 games and hits 40 homers with 125 RBIs, this team's just not going to score.
No, I mean, they really don't want him to play the outfield. And they have the other guy that they picked up as a free agent from Arizona playing first base.
Christian Walker,
who's a nice player, but he's not a difference maker.
No.
And they don't have a difference maker in the outfield, I don't think,
No.
I think that they are.
I think the window's closed.
Yeah, I think they're trending towards having to do a complete rebuild, and wouldn't shock me if they were under 500 at the All-Star game and Detroit needed some help, and they said, yeah, Altuve maybe can help us a little bit. Would they trade him, and would he agree to go for a chance to, stuff like that, I think is going to happen. The team's going to start to be
dismantled even further.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really dismantled from the standpoint of it being a contender. Now the names that are really have been associated
built that into what it became for a while there.
Yeah. Okay. are going to be sent off.
Yeah. The Rangers, Ted, finished right at 500, 81 and 81. Like the Astros, this is another team that plays in the hot weather of Texas that historically was a big-time offensive team. They were 22nd in scoring, Ted. The Texas Rangers were first, allowing only 3.73 runs per game. Did you ever think we'd be talking about the Texas Rangers allowing the least runs?
No.
Bochy's retired.
Right.
They bring in Skip Schumacher, who's, I think, a good manager.
Yeah, he did a good job in Florida. Yeah.
Yes, he did. They make a few mid-level moves, trading Marcus Semien for Brandon Nimmo. They bring in Danny Jansen, the catcher, and they bring in our guy Mackenzie Gore from the Nationals. I don't know, Ted. This is another team that I just don't see it.
Like last year, Garcia fell off the map with injuries, and then they've let him go. They have a lot of hope in this Wyatt Langford.
He's got to be big. He and Josh Young have to be big.
Well, the other guy too is the guy that was in the outfield when
Evan Carter.
He's been banged up ever since then. He's got to get out there and play and show that he was as good as he was back then.
The other thing, Ted, to me though, for me, if I'm a Texas Rangers fan, and you gave me 3 wishes.
Yeah.
The first wish is that DeGrom makes 30 starts.
Yeah.
The second wish, and maybe I might even put this at number 1, is that Corey Seager plays a full season.
Yes. Yeah, that's the problem they have, but go ahead.
So if you got full seasons,
what's your third wish?
The third wish is that
you gave yourself 3. You might as well.
Yeah, the third one is that Langford becomes the star that everybody predicts that he is.
Right.
Because if Seager stays healthy and if Seager gives you 155 games, you know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If DeGrom gives you 30 starts, you know what he's going to do.
Right. If everything else falls off of those 2.
Right. So if you got those 2 things first, if those 2 things happen, is this team contending for a wild card?
Yes. And if the Mariners bobble, and they make, because Texas, I suspect they have resources to go get things if they're in contention, fill their needs, that weakness areas. I have no problem seeing if Seattle was to bobble and Texas was playing well and their guys were healthy, that they wouldn't go out and get what they needed and give themselves a real chance. Yeah. I think they have a chance to contend, but like you said, those 2 guys have to play. They have to play routinely.
Yeah.
I think they can get away with DeGrom making 120 or making 27 starts, and Seager at about 140 to 145 games.
Okay.
Anything after that, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah. All right, Ted. The A's were much better than I think anybody expected. They finished 76 and 86 again. Rookie of the year, Nick Kurtz. Ted, I hadn't realized his numbers: 290, 36 homers, 86 RBIs. It's a good season.
That's a good season. Yeah.
Runner-up rookie of the year, Jacob Wilson, 311, 13 homers, 63 RBIs.
As a shortstop.
You add Soderstrom, 276, 2593. Langoliers, 277, 3172. And Lawrence Butler, 21 homers, 63. That's an offensive nucleus that's going to score runs.
If that's what these guys are or something close to that on a regular basis, you just got to find some pitching. And that's a team that if they score like that, and they seem to catch the ball pretty well. The guy in Butler, the center fielder, is unbelievable, right? And Wilson's pretty good at short. You get a little bit of pitching. That's a team that could, if the wild card number gets down to 83, 84, if they won 76 games last year with not very much pitching, you get a little bit of pitching, you could get up to 82, 83 wins and be in contention. I think the A's have a chance to contend for the playoffs.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be great?
I just want to see a game in that minor league park in the playoffs and make Rod Manfred decide if he's going to let him play at
that was a thing last year, because at one point Tampa was kind of, remember You remember Tampa was in it like in late August,
That's
and that,
right.
that sort of became a thing. Is where are they going to play? And I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, you had them playing here all year. They have to play there.
Ted, we talked about the Astros and the Rangers flip-flopping from being offensive teams to pitching teams. In this Moneyball era, the A's have constantly been a good pitching team.
Yeah,
Ted,
not now.
27th in runs allowed, 28th in home runs allowed, and 25th in team whip. If you can get this to be that you're somewhere between 17 and 20 in those categories, to your point, the playoff team.
You got a chance anyway. You got a chance. I think part of that could be moving from the cavernous Oakland Coliseum, where you could make a mistake and it could still end up being caught, to a minor league park where there's probably not the foul ground, and
Fascinating. I hadn't thought
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So yeah. I mean, I really do. I really do want the A's and the Pirates to be just good enough to at least play meaningful games in the last week of the season. That's what I want.
Yeah. All right, Ted. The team that looks to be just a complete franchise in decline is the Angels. They haven't
Yeah.
gotten quite to Rockies or White Sox
No,
level
no,
yet.
no,
But Ted,
no.
72 and 90 last year, 25th in scoring, and 28th in runs allowed. 34 Mike Trout. He's no longer
They
elite.
should move. They should move him. If he would like to. I mean, he can deny any trade he wants, but they should move him.
On one hand, I love his loyalty, because that's sort of like an old-fashioned thing. But what Major League Baseball has lost without him having a
Right.
postseason stage on a regular basis,
Yeah.
is a shame.
I think that I think they should try and move him, just from an Angel, try to benefit themselves by getting some younger play. But the return is not going to be what it
No.
would have been 2 years ago.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do think they should move him and try and get him into I think he could help a contender as a,
Hey, Phillies need a hitting outfielder, and he's
Yeah.
from the area.
Right. I think that's the one team that he would take a trade to. But, then the question is, what's he worth?
But in that lineup, you put him behind Bryce Harper and Schwarber, and put him ahead of Alec Boehm.
The only problem that the Phillies have is that he has to play the field. He can't hide in DH. So you're still going to have to. It's almost, I wouldn't call it a platoon, but there's going to have to be somebody that's going to have to play a couple of days a week to get him off his feet. So,
Right.
But I don't think the return to the Angels is going to be anything to write home about anymore.
Yeah. All right, Ted, let's move to the National League West. And I wish I had the Star Wars theme song, because I would play the song when Darth Vader
walks in.
Yeah, I'm now dubbing the Dodgers the Darth Vader of baseball. They won their second World Series and championship last year, and to their credit, they fought through just a litany of injuries.
Yeah. It was not the cakewalk. It was not the cakewalk that people thought it was going to be.
No. And Mookie Betts was good, not great.
Right.
But then in the offseason, they cement their villain status by signing Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz to fill their biggest hole last year. They also added depth by re-signing World Series hero Miguel Rojas and postseason star Kiki Hernandez. You add that to Tommy Edman and the Korean player Kim, you have incredible flexibility.
Yeah. Yep.
You have an incredible lineup that can just go lefty, righty, right on down the line.
Yeah.
They've got at least 5 legitimate starters, all of which that would be either a first or second starter on most any other team.
Right.
They now have either the first or second best closer in the game. Find me a weakness.
Boredom. I mean, injuries. That's, that's because it's not a young team.
No.
And I would say Freeman, Muncy's going to retire, or at least he says he's going to retire. Tommy Edman, Teoscar Hernandez are all on the backside of their careers.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Mookie Betts has a lot to come back to. I mean, I'm obviously, I think whatever he had at the beginning of last year, that flu or whatever, he lost like 15 or 20 pounds. And I think that just threw him off for the whole year. I think he'll have a much better year this year. But yeah, I mean, I think that's their biggest issue will be injuries. I mean, Blake Snell's not, he's not starting. He's starting the year on the DL. They've always had, since they've been in LA, always had a tremendous farm system. They may need some of those guys this year.
Ted, what I wrote down was, if the biggest flaw that you can find is that Mookie Betts should not be playing shortstop,
but he plays it well enough.
He does play it well enough. But if that's your biggest flaw,
yeah. I think the biggest worry they have, I guess, aside from injuries and all that, is what happens with Pages. Does he bounce back after the postseason he had last year? Although he kind of saved the World Series for him with the catch that he made. So, I mean, and if everybody's reasonably healthy and playing their normal, they can certainly carry him.
Yeah.
But they don't want to. They want to have a good player. So could they move him and bring in somebody else? Yeah, it's possible.
If this team is healthier than they were last year,
yeah,
they win 100 games.
I would think. Yeah. I mean, this could be the team that wins like 110 if everything goes right. But
because one of the things you did not like about last year's team was their corner outfielders, and they go out and they get Kyle Tucker.
Well, yeah. Well, Teoscar's still a good hitter. But he's got Pages next to him, so that helps.
And Tucker's a good enough outfielder that they can just...
Pages can lean towards Teoscar Hernandez's side. Yeah. I think their middle relief is a little bit of an issue. How they get to Diaz can be a little bit of I think they're going to be mixing and matching a lot and trying to figure out who belongs where. But I mean, they got Tanner Scott, who was terrible for him last year, and they paid him a lot of money. What if he's good?
And all he has to do now is pitch the 7th or the 8th inning. He doesn't have to close anymore.
Good? Though, and the other thing that the Dodgers learned for themselves last year is that they don't have to hit the accelerator through the whole season. So on that,
which is the only reason that they might not win 110 games, is just because, to your point, age, boredom, injuries.
Right. If they're up by 12 games at the end of August and a couple of guys are banged up, they're not playing a lot.
Yeah.
They're, until it gets close to the end and they need to get them, back on game speed.
All right. The Padres were very good again last year. They finished 92-70, made the playoffs, but lost to the Cubs in the wild card round. Ted, the loss of Soto had a pretty significant impact. They were not great offensively, 18th in scoring. Ted, they were 28th in home runs hit last year as a team.
Wow.
The pitching was very good. Third, allowing 3.83 runs per game. Dylan Cease is gone. He was not great, but he did make 30 starts every year.
Yes, he does.
Here's my question. They re-signed Michael King, who's a good, solid 2 or 3 starter.
Yeah, right.
Is Nick Pivetta going to be as good as he was last year?
Okay, yeah. That's
Yu Darvish is 38.
Well, I don't think he's pitching at all. I think he's on the disabled list.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Because he was banged up at the end of last year.
There you go. So, Machado's a great player. Bogarts is clearly in decline.
Right.
Jackson Merrill has potential.
He's a really good looking player. Yeah.
They have some pieces. Tatis needs to blossom and be the superstar offensively.
Yeah. I mean, he was a superstar as a shortstop with the numbers he puts up, but as an outfielder, it's good. He's really good, but it's not next level kind of thing. Yeah.
They lost Suarez to the Braves, for the closer, but then they have, Mason Miller throwing 102.
Yeah. That's, I don't think closing is going to be their issue.
Yeah.
They lose Louis. They let Luis Arise go.
Yeah.
They're going to put, I guess, Gavin Sheets is going to play a lot of first base. and they have Cronenworth still, who can play kind of anywhere. Yeah. I think they were counting on Joe Musgrove to come back, and he's struggling with Tommy John return. I think he's been shut down for at least temporarily.
Ted, I like Cronenworth. I like Sheets. But Ted, those guys are only really good players if Tatis and Machado are great.
Yeah. Yeah. They're complementary players. Yeah.
Right. They're great hitting 6th or 7th in the lineup and being a dangerous bat every so often.
Yeah.
But if the two stars aren't stars, and if Bogarts isn't better than he was last year, I don't know, Ted. This is another team. I wouldn't quite say it's to the Astros level, but I don't know. I don't get a good vibe off what this team has to offer.
Yeah, I mean I think, what are they going to get at, if anything, out of Darvish? Because I read somewhere that he was thinking about hanging it up.
Probably be the best thing, because they signed him that crazy contract a couple years ago. That was stupidity.
Yeah. But if I'm sure they were counting on Musgrove to come back, but if he's limited even more than he would have been as returning from Tommy John, I'm with you. I think they have the potential, but I'm not sold on the Padres as the team that's going to finish second this year.
Yeah. Okay. Now the Giants were right at 500, 81 and 81. Another team averaged its offensively 17th with 4.35. But they didn't have great pitching. They were sort of average from a pitching standpoint. They make a couple, again, mid-level moves. They bring in a rise from the Padres. They bring in Harrison Bader, who was very good for the Phillies last year, but I'm a huge Bader fan. They bring in Michael Fulmer to help with pitching. To me, this whole thing comes down to Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
Is he the star to build your team around?
Well, they're going to find out.
Because if he's not, this team is going to be selling pieces in July and August.
Right. Bader is, I think Bader's going to, defensively, I think it's a great pickup, because that center field out there is big. He's got a lot of room to run around and he was great. Look, I thought he was great for the Phillies.
Yeah, he was perfect for them. He fit in like a glove.
And they should have tried to, I thought they should have made a stronger effort to sign him. But also you have to remember his history. His history as an everyday regular player. It's okay. He's okay.
He's great as a fourth outfielder.
He's good as and he's probably good in a platoon against left-hander. I think he's a terrific defensive player, but you saw, with the Phillies, his true personality kind of came out. And that's why I thought he was a better fit there than I think I would have paid a little extra just for that part of his game.
The feistiness.
Yeah. And no matter what he did on offense, he was going to be better than what they had last year.
And because now the other outfielder, Rojas, he's been suspended as well. So
80 games and he still can't hit. He's taking PEDs and he still can't hit. It just goes to show you, if you can't hit the ball, the PEDs don't matter.
All right, Ted. The Diamondbacks have fallen back from their World Series appearance a couple years ago. They were very good offensively, 6th in scoring, 8th in home runs, 8th in team batting average. All about the pitching.
Yeah.
24th, allowing 4.85 runs per game. Their big move in the offseason, the two big moves are they bring in some aides. They bring in Nolan Arenado, they bring in Carlos Santana, and they bring in reliever Paul Sewald. I don't know.
Well, part of their offensive outburst last year was having Suarez in the first half of the season, where he hit about 35 home runs by the All-Star break.
And Naylor at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, right. And Naylor, right. Bringing in Nolan Arenado, terrific defensive player, but at this point in his career offensively, if he hits 20 for the season, that's probably a good thing, right?
Last year in 107 games, Ted, here's Arenado's numbers: 237, 13, and 52.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so if let's say he plays 140 games and he gets to 20 home runs, is that going to be
75 RBI?
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Sewald is not, the closer. I don't think he's the closer that he was when he was with Seattle or whoever he was with. But I think their biggest problem was that the young pitchers that were so good in the playoffs and when they went to the playoffs in 2023, was it when they went to the World Series, have sort of never really blossomed.
Zach Gallen, who at one time was, I don't know, not maybe a top 10 to 15 pitcher in the league.
Yeah.
Last year, Zach Gallen, 13 and 15, 483. One of the young guys, Brandon Pfaadt, 13 and 9, 5.25 ERA.
Yeah. He won 13 games, but with a 5.25 ERA, you won 13 games. That tells me they were scoring like 9 or 10 most days he went out there.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you can't depend on that year to year.
I love the double play combination.
Yes.
If you told me I need a game-winning hit, Marte might be, other than the big names, Marte'd be one of those guys that a lot of people don't know about that I'd put at the top of my list.
He'd be in the top 10.
Yeah.
I think he's that kind of guy. Yeah.
And Perdomo, he's evolved into being a much better offensive player than I thought he was ever going to be.
Yeah. He's not going to hit 30 home runs.
No, but last year, 290, 20 homers, 100 RBIs.
You take that out of a shortstop that can play shortstop. That's a real shortstop. Yeah, you take that every day.
I don't think Carlos Santana has a lot left.
No.
He's gonna do what he does. He's gonna hit a few homers. He's gonna walk and hit 220.
Yeah, that's what it is. They have a younger guy whose name escapes me that they used part-time last year after Naylor left, and I think he's kind of a platoon type deal. I think Santana's going to play a lot against left-handed pitching.
This is another team that I maybe I don't see it. I don't see, after the Dodgers, I don't see a great team in here. Now, the Padres and the Giants and the Diamondbacks will all be good enough that on any given 3-game series, they could go into LA and win 2 out of 3.
Yeah, right.
But as a rule, I don't see any one of these 3 teams being a real match for the Dodgers if they're healthy.
No, I personally, of all of those 3 teams, I think that if things go right, the Giants might be. But the problem with the Giants too is they have a rookie manager who came out of college. How does that work? Because he's used to managing 50 games or whatever, and that's the first third of the season.
Yeah.
So, on the one hand, the Padres still have a lot of quality players and everything, but their pitching is so beat up that and that's to start the season.
If Machado and Tatis both go crazy, I guess you could see them hitting their way, but
they're also counting on Ramon Laureano having a big, continue, and he's a terrific outfielder.
And he's another guy that if he's your 4th outfielder, I love him. I don't, he was very good for the A's.
But he had one of the reasons the A's let him go was he started to fall off offensively. He came to Baltimore, he sort of figured it out, and he continued in San Diego last year and had a really good year. Is that what he is now going forward, or does he start to go back to being what he was when he left Oakland? But he's a terrific outfielder, and certainly as a 3rd or 4th, but as an everyday starter, I'd like to see him prove it again.
All right, let's wrap it up with the Colorado Rockies, Ted. If they're charging more than $5 to get into Colorado,
they are.
They won 43 games last year, 43.
Yeah.
And playing 81 games in Colorado, they were 29th in scoring. How can you be 29th in scoring when you play half your games in Colorado? Then they had the hat trick pitching, worst in the major leagues in runs allowed, home runs allowed, and team whip. And in a game built on power, their pitchers allowed 91 more home runs over the course of the season than they hit offensively.
Oh, that's going to hurt. That's going to leave a mark.
Hunter Goodman is a nice catcher.
Yeah.
I really like the Tovar, the shortstop.
Yeah.
They bring in Jose Quintana and Michael Lorenzen.
Well, somebody has to throw. Somebody has to pitch the innings.
Are they going to break 50 wins?
I think so.
60?
I think so. No. Okay. I think they're in the Nationals and Twins 55 type win. They could outlast the Nats for worst team. Yeah. One of the things that Rockies have as an issue is that Chris Bryant is still an active paid member. They have to, he hasn't played in 2 years. And even when he did play, he can't play anymore.
No.
At some point, don't you pay him off and get him off your roster and move along? I mean, I feel sorry for him because he seems like a decent person who had a bad injury and had just never been able to recover from it. But at some point, at the Rockies, don't you hand him a big check and say, okay, good luck,
All right, let's wrap it up with this, Ted. American League, you like the Mariners. Do you think which of the other teams, we didn't love any of the teams in the American League West.
I'm just going to say the Giants because I just did.
But in the American League West, is there anybody else you think is going to be contending for a wild card?
Texas and maybe Oakland, maybe. But both of them have to have a lot of things go right.
And in the National League West, you like the Giants.
The Giants but again, a lot of things have to go right for those teams. I think the strength of both leagues are in the Central and the East.
Interesting.
Now the Dodgers could still, like you said, win 105 games and just sort of cruise into the World Series.
There's a part of me that would like the Dodgers to win 120 games.
Yeah.
Sweep all of their playoff series. And then go into the offseason and everybody go, okay, yeah, we do need a salary cap. Okay, we're now convinced.
Right.
That might be the best thing for baseball.
Yes. Yeah, that having the Dodgers have, whether it's 100, but set the all-time win record in the regular season and just sort of blow everybody's doors off in the playoffs and the World Series. And then everybody go, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, you might get some traction with that then. Yeah.
I've now decided that's what I'm rooting for.
Okay.
I want Shohei to hit 60 home runs and win 25 games.
Well, he's not going to win 25 games, but
that's what I want. And I want him to be 25-0 with a 1.5 ERA.
Okay.
I want him to hit 60 home runs and drive in 100. I want him to break Hack Wilson's RBI record, Ted.
Nice. Okay. That's going ways back. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you know the number?
190.
Okay. Yeah.
We started with Al Simmons and Jimmy Fox, and we're finishing with Hack Wilson.
And it's interesting.
Kids, look him up.
Your dreams are much larger than mine. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping for the Pirates and the A's to contend in September, and you're looking for Shohei to have the greatest season, and the Dodgers to blow everybody's doors off.
Ted, what I want is a work stoppage, and I want a salary cap, and I want a salary cap with a floor, and addressing the deferrals, and I want, when baseball resumes, I want the Dodgers to have to trade at least one of their big guys just because they have to start moving towards dismantling their payroll. That's what I want.
For that to have any hope, you're right. You have to have the Dodgers just run.
I want them in this next offseason to go, okay, we have to trade Teoscar.
Well, they were thinking about that anyway.
But my point is, he's the kind of guy that's making a big number.
If you want that to happen, you should want them to, Teoscar, yeah, great. But they also have to trade Tyler Glasnow.
Okay.
Or, some Blake Snell, somebody.
Right. A pitcher and a hitter. Yeah. I'm on board with that. Yep.
Okay.
All
right.
Let's go.
Just solve that today.
There you go. Ted, as always, if Rob Manfred would just listen to this podcast, he would resolve all of his issues.
I'm sure if you can get Stephen A. Smith on him,
there you go. Next week, we're going to have a lively debate with Stephen A. Smith, Rob Manfred, and the Grumpy Brothers.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't write a check. Don't write a check you can't cash. Right?
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there for the week. Thank you again to our fans for listening. Please check us out on all of our social media sites. We have a YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram, X, and Facebook. You can also email us at grumpybrothersports@gmail.com. And with that, we'll say good night, and we promise to do better next time.